Hello, my name is Chris, and today I'd like to talk briefly about how the thoughts that we attach to an event or a situation going on in our lives ultimately determine how that situation, how that event is going to play out. A couple of days ago, I made a video about the things that I would do differently if I had to quit smoking again. And one of the things that I said I would do differently is that I would change the stories that I told myself about how that situation was going to play out. I would change the story from, well, this is going to be the most difficult thing that I've ever done and I'll fail at it, into, this is actually going to be easy and fun and I'm going to succeed. And I wanted to expand on this a little bit today, because I found in many areas of my life that the stories that I tell myself change everything. The stories that I tell myself change how things pan out. Changing the stories that I tell myself about things changes the way I feel about them. Changing the stories that I tell myself changes the impossible into the very possible. And this is proven to be true time and time again. So today, I just wanted to briefly share with you the importance of changing the stories that we tell ourselves and the profound difference it can make in our lives. For the benefit of my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I post videos like this one every week. Please do consider subscribing. For the benefit of those of you who've already done so, I will use again the example of quitting smoking, but I need you to know that this applies to all other areas of life, and I'll share some other examples later on too. So when I was trying to quit smoking, because I had times when I tried and then picked up a cigarette and started smoking again, because I had times when things were difficult, I developed this story in my head where I told myself that every time I tried to quit, I was destined to fail. And I told myself that it was the hardest, most difficult, most impossible thing I would ever have to do. And that eventually I would just quit again, I would just start smoking again, because that's what I did. This became the story that I told myself with every quit attempt. And guess what? With every quit attempt, that's what happened. It became difficult, it became impossible, and I started smoking again. Why? Because no matter how hard I try, I cannot lie to myself and believe it. So if I tell myself that it is going to be hard and that I'm going to fail, that becomes a belief, that becomes a core belief ingrained in me that that's how things are going to pan out. I cannot act, you cannot act, we cannot act incongruently, inconsistently with our core beliefs. They determine our behaviours. So if I'm telling myself this story that I'm going to fail and that it's going to be impossible, when it comes time to taking action, I take action that is congruent and consistent with my beliefs. I act out the story that I've already told myself, and then I go, see, told you that was what was going to happen, because I can't lie to myself. So I had to do something that made what I told myself be true. And it becomes this wicked self-fulfilling prophecy. This self-fulfilling prophecy, these stories that we tell ourselves, are a form of self-sabotage. Because if we could change the stories that we told ourselves and say, look, okay, this is actually going to be a rewarding experience. And look, there are other things in my past that I have succeeded at, that I have been successful at. So there is no reason why I can't be successful at this too. And there is no reason why it can't be enjoyable and easy and pain-free. If I do that, then I stop self-sabotaging my own success and I actually start to make it happen for me. Telling ourselves these self-sabotaging stories can hold us back from experiencing what we really want out of life, whether it is being smoke-free or something else entirely. Another example that I have is years ago I used to really enjoy running. I think it's just a great way to clear the head and get some dopamine going. It makes you feel good. But I'd always had this problem with my left knee for years since being a child. And eventually I had knee surgery. And after the surgery, my knee always felt that little bit weaker and it was painful quite a lot of the time, like felt inflamed. And I told myself that because of this, that's it, my running days are over. For years, I told myself I can't run anymore. And when I'd be out and I'd see people running past me, or friends would sign up to do like a 10k or a marathon or whatever, I would get really jealous because I told myself that they were doing something that I wasn't able to do. And it would eat me up and it would make me unhappy. Then, about 7 or 8 months ago, I decided I had enough of telling myself that I couldn't do this and telling myself that I wasn't able to do something that other people could do and telling myself that I had to be unhappy about it. And I started to change the story that I told myself about my knee. I didn't tell myself that it was super strong and fit and everything was fine. I could have done that, but it would have made a lot of sense to do that. But at the time, I told myself a different story, which was this. My knee is always going to have the effects of that surgery. Always. But I can choose, if it is always going to be this way, regardless as to what I do, then it is going to be this way regardless as to whether I sit on the sofa and do nothing or put my running shoes on and go for a run. So I told myself that it isn't going to make any difference whether I run or not, so I might as well just go for the run. So I went for my first run in like 5 years on the 1st of January this year, and you know what, it was fine. My knee didn't hurt any more than usual. It wasn't any different. And it built up and I got really good at running again. I did a 5k a couple of months ago. Everything was going great. And then I injured my foot, like my Achilles tendon, I think they call it. Really painful. And for weeks I told myself, well, I can't run now. I'll have to sit this out and just wait. And I kept telling myself, day in, day out, the story that I kept telling myself was, I have an injured foot and it hurts. So I sat on my bum and did nothing. And again, this was starting to depress me. So this time I changed the story again, and this time I did change it bigger. This time I changed it to, I can go for a run and my foot is going to be fine. It is not going to hurt. And I went for a run like yesterday. I ran 6.10 miles. And you know what? Today my foot is absolutely fine. Just changing that mindset from I have an injured foot and it hurts to my foot is going to be fine, and then running 6 miles and now it is fine, made such a big difference to me. So basically I spent all this time telling myself these stories that denied me what I really wanted in life and what was going to make me happy. I wanted to be free of cigarettes and breathe fresh air and come out here by the water's edge and have fun. And I told myself I couldn't because I told myself that I couldn't quit smoking. I told myself that I couldn't run. I told myself that I was in pain. And what happened every time I told myself that? I was in pain and I couldn't run and I couldn't quit smoking. Then as soon as I started to change those stories, as soon as I started to tell myself, yes, I can quit smoking, yes, I can run, no, I'm not in pain, I actually feel pretty good. I quit, I ran, and I felt good. And I can apply this to anything. Again, it can be quitting smoking or losing weight or exercising or talking to that person you find attractive. How you doing? You've heard, I'm sure, time and time again the old saying that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct. That's what this comes down to. It comes down to what I tell myself up here. I hope, as always, you have found this video helpful. If so, please do let me know in the comments below. I do love hearing from you. I'll try and reply to like every comment I get, even if it takes me a few days. Thank you so much for watching. Likes and shares, as always, are appreciated. And for more videos like this on a weekly basis, please do consider subscribing. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Bye.